How's it, Godzilla fans, kaiju fans, collectors, and just general people of YouTube? This is Chanzilla1964 coming back to you with another figure review. This time we'll be reviewing the Bandai Movie Monster Series Daimajin figure. So, like I said in the last review, the Gamera Memorial Box figure set review, I was going to review another one of Dai's monsters, which is this guy right here, Daimajin. So, it's a Dai monster, and what I've noticed what Bandai's been doing with the Dai versus the Toho monsters, which is kind of interesting, is their tags are a little different. Where Bandai, you got, your usual Toho Godzilla tag over here going on here with the monster on the front, the silhouette of the monster, or part of the monster on the back, and it's more or less squarish rectangle look. Whereas the Dai cards are a lot more slimmer, taller, and they have the usually, I believe, chest up picture of the kaiju, which they have for Daimajin over here. And then, interestingly enough, they have the movie poster on the back, more or less. But for Daimajin, they have his full body look, which is really nice. And both of them have the usual mumbo jumbo stuff on the inside, along with the silhouette of the monsters. Although for Daimajin, it's more of a black and white picture of him before he came out of the mountain, which is neat. But yeah, it's just a neat little difference that I noticed. And I'm pretty sure other people noticed as well, but yeah, not sure if it's been put out there on YouTube. Anyways, moving on to detail, which I still have the card here because, yes, it's found something kind of interesting, which a lot of other people have brought up. So, on the card, he has a spike in his head. This thing. And I know it looks like a Pinocchio nose. It's not. I watched the movie after I got the figure because I figured, the Daimajin's a cool figure. I want to see where it came from. So I watched the movie, and this is actually a spike that got driven into Daimajin's head before it got awakened. So it's missing it on the figure, which I'm not sure if this is just a different version of him or if it's just Bandai decided to leave it off. But because on the inside, there's no spike, but on this side there are spikes. So I'm not sure, but I'm just kind of happy we got a Daimajin figure to begin with, because my first exposure to Daimajin was this old Dark Horse Godzilla comic where Godzilla fought Daimajin. I forget where, but Daimajin was in more samurai-esque armor than this, and I mean, to me it was an epic fight because Daimajin had a hammer and all, and he was about like half the size of Godzilla. It was just a really neat fight. But all that beside, to continue on detail, his armor, like all this kind of chainmail armor stuff going on from his chest to his skirt, all the way down to his legs, and even on the shoulder, the texturing for it turned out really, really nice. Now, I will also say that the texturing for this is going to be missing on the forearm guards, but that's okay because it adds a little bit of variety. And then some other parts on his armor that are very, very nicely done would be this face on his belt buckle, as well as the, I guess, crest, or this design on his upper chest area armor, or shoulder armor, but yeah. And then Daimajin's sword is very nicely done over here, with a similar texturing that it can be found on this, as well as his feet, which, before you go to the sword, the feet are very nicely done. And it's kind of like this stone giant block-esque thing, which is cooler, squarish feet. And then instead of just leaving it flat, as this arch thing going on, which I thought was pretty cool. But for Daimajin's sword, it's very nicely detailed. Does not come out, but funny thing is, it is a separate piece because it is glued in over here. And then another neat detail that Bandai added for Daimajin would be his chain, that where his sword dangles from the belt. So yeah, I thought that was a really cool detail. Then moving on to Daimajin's arms, or the inside of his arms, they're very nicely detailed too, with this kind of suit or movie monster suit-esque detail going on over here, which kind of brings out a lot of the figure's attributes. And then on the back, there's some more nice armor detail for Daimajin. And then moving on to his head, though, since we're on the back, the samurai-esque armor is still kind of there, which is very nice with the neck guard over here. Very nicely done. The top of Daimajin's head is also very nicely done with all the bolt detail work over here and the bands. Then on the side, you have this kind of waffle sort of thing going on here, which is really nicely done. Similar bolt work on this side too. And then the star of Daimajin's, of the figure for me in particular, would be Daimajin's face, which is very, very nicely detailed. I really like how they sculpted in the eyebrows over here, which are very menacing, as well as the nose holes, which is just an interesting detail that I noticed. On top of Daimajin also having a butt chin, which is, yep, it is something from the movie. But yeah, I mean, for me, for detail wise, Bandai perfectly encapsulated the essence of Daimajin in this figure. Only thing that would be missing would be the bolt in his head, but yeah. Moving on to paint for Daimajin, I feel like Bandai went with the bare minimum for paint in that regard, because for Daimajin, I mean, you don't really need much. It's a stone, giant that came out from a mountain, so it looked like stone, more or less. I mean, it is cool though that Bandai added the paint for the face, the paint for the arms over here, and did not miss the paint for the over here for the wrapping, I guess. Yeah, the wrapping for the forearm guards, which is really, really nice. And the paint for this is actually pretty cool, this blue-green paint, which I like. But I mean, from the pictures, Daimajin kind of has this bronze-ish color going on here. Even from this one, the armor is brown, or the armor is bronze. I'm sorry, the armor is bronze, and the sword is brown, which, I mean, would have been a bit of a better, I guess, paint job, even though, like I said, it's just a stone giant, so it doesn't really need much paint. Or even, I mean, a little bit of accents, or like, bronze-ish accents on the sword, and like these parts for Daimajin would have been really, really cool, or even a little bit of dry brushing. But I mean, Bandai did the bare minimum, and it's okay. It's not great, it's not amazing. It's also not bad, because, I mean, you don't really need much paint for the guy. But I mean, like, yeah. Paint job is decent. That's I'm gonna leave it there. It's decent. And then moving on to articulation. Articulation is where I'm a bit sad Bandai fell a bit short for articulation, because usually with these kind of figures, you get 3 points of articulation. I'll show you how much you get now. You get 1, you get 2, then there's no waist movement, and no head movement. Which, I mean, head movement, it's expected there wouldn't be any head movement, but I would at least think there'd be a little bit of waist movement. But there's a glue seal right here at the bottom middle of the skirt, which is very different from what Bandai's done in the past. But I mean, yeah, just a little bummed out that there is no waist articulation for this guy, but at least he can move his arms. Yeah. But with that being out of the way, moving on to size comparison, the only Godzilla that we have from that era, I guess, of film would be this. And they look really good together. But Daimajin is like short. And by short, I mean, here, this is how big Godzilla's actually supposed to be compared to Daimajin. I mean short. So, yeah. But, I mean, if you're going to have, like, two figures just duking it out, and it's just these two guys, and then let's go bring in Gamera over here. Gamera. They look good together. So, size comparison wise, and you know, just seeing how it is, I'd say it's a pretty good size figure for Daimajin. Now, would I recommend you guys pick up this figure? If you're a fan of giant monsters in general, or if you're even a fan of the Dai kind of, if you're a fan of Dai, the company that created Gamera, I would say definitely pick up this figure. If you're also just a fan of, you know, kaiju, you know, the Japanese kaiju genre in general, this would be a good figure to pick up, because the movie is really good, in my opinion. I would definitely give the movie a watch, and then he's also made some impressions in the Godzilla comics, which, by the way, like the comic I said was a Dark Horse comic, Godzilla vs. Daimajin, which if you guys have a copy of it, or if you can find a copy of it, I would recommend picking it up and reading it. It's a pretty epic read, and it's also some pretty epic artwork too. If I can find it, I'll put it somewhere on the screen over here. But yeah, that'll pretty much be it for the review for today, guys. If you guys liked the video, remember to hit the thumbs up button down below, and if you guys like what you see on the channel, do be sure to subscribe. And then if you guys have any know anything that I may have missed for Daimajin, or if you guys want to leave a comment in general, be sure to leave a comment down below, because it does help with the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, until next time, guys, which, by the way, I'll either be reviewing the Bandai Movie Monster Series Mega Gears, or the Bandai Movie Monster Series Batcher figures, in the next video. Oh, also, I did want to note that I did get this guy in as well. It's a different Kamacuras figure than the Bandai one. But yeah, just stay tuned for those videos, and until next time, this has been Chanzilla 1964. So yeah, peace.